Section 1. The Paradox of the Sword and the Throne. Did you know that a deadly samurai and a Roman emperor shared the exact same mind? It sounds impossible. They lived centuries apart. They were separated by oceans, languages, and completely different worlds. One lived on the absolute throne of Rome. He ruled millions of people from a palace of pure marble. The other slept on the dirt of war-torn Japan. He owned nothing but two sharp swords and a fierce desire to master his craft. By all social standards, these two men had zero things in common. One had ultimate power. The other had ultimate freedom. Their daily battles belonged to entirely different universes. Yet, if you look closely at their final days on Earth, you will find an astonishing, almost creepy symmetry. They faced betrayal, chaos, and the constant threat of death. But neither of them ever panicked. Neither of them broke. Here is a question for you. Why do you think two leaders from completely opposite cultures found the exact same way to survive? Is true mental strength a universal human trait, or does culture shape how we handle pain? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let us look deeper into this strange connection, because their ancient blueprint might be exactly what you need to survive the chaos of your modern life. Section 2. The Hook, Two Worlds, One Mind. To understand this connection, we must look at two specific books. First, we have the Dokkodo, written by Miyamoto Musashi. It is a short list of 21 strict rules for absolute self-reliance. Second, we have Meditations, written by Marcus Aurelius. It is a private journal about mental discipline under immense pressure. Both men wrote these texts right before they died. They did not write them for fame or money. They wrote them as private operating systems for survival. When you compare these texts, the similarities are shocking. Musashi wrote, "Do not depend on a partial feeling." Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Control your assumptions." Both meant the exact same thing. They discovered that emotional reactions are your greatest enemy in a crisis. This is not just cool history. This is a practical weapon for your life today. If you are a business owner, a leader, or an investor, you deal with chaos every day. Markets crash, teams fail, and plans fall apart. The strategy of these two masters teaches you tactical detachment. It shows you how to separate your emotions from your reality. This gives you the power of absolute clarity when everyone else is panicking. Let us look at how Musashi built this armor in his darkest days. Section 3. Musashi's Crucible, the Dokkodo. To see how this blueprint works, we must look at Miyamoto Musashi's final days. In the year 1645, Musashi knew he was dying. He did not die in a glorious battle. He was old, sick, and living in a cold cave called Reigondo. He had spent his entire life fighting. He survived 62 death matches and never lost once. Yet, at the end of his life, he owned almost nothing. He did not seek comfort, wealth, or political power. Instead, he sat alone in the dark and grabbed his brush. He wrote a tiny document called the Dokkodo. In English, this translates to The Way of Walking Alone. It contains only 21 short lines. This text was not a long, boring philosophy book. It was a practical list of rules for absolute self-reliance. He wrote it for his favorite student, but also for himself. It was his final testament on how a warrior must think. The core message of the Dokkodo is both simple and brutal. Musashi believed that true strength comes from accepting reality, exactly as it is. He tells us never to rely on temporary pleasures. He warns us never to let regret destroy our focus. For a samurai, a split second of regret meant instant death. In his cold cave, Musashi proved something incredible. He showed that you can lose your health, your youth, and your comfort, but you must never lose control of your mind. Section 4. The Stoic Citadel. Meditations in the Mud. Now let us travel across the world and back in time. 14 centuries before Musashi, Marcus Aurelius faced his own dark reality. He was the emperor of Rome, the most powerful man alive. But his life was not filled with luxury or peace. Instead, he spent his final years in a cold, muddy military camp. He was fighting German tribes on the brutal northern frontier. He faced constant betrayals by close friends, a deadly plague, and the decay of his empire. Every single day, he was surrounded by blood, disease, and the terrifying weight of leadership. Yet, like Musashi, he sat alone in the dark when the fighting stopped. Inside his military tent, lit by a single candle, he opened his journal. This journal became the famous book known today as Meditations. He never intended to publish these words. He wrote them to himself as a form of daily mental training. It was his personal weapon to maintain absolute clarity amidst chaos. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself of a crucial truth. He wrote that the world around us is chaotic and uncontrollable. People will be ungrateful, rude, and treacherous. But he believed that these external forces have no power to hurt your soul unless you let them. In the mud of the battlefield, the Roman emperor arrived at the exact same conclusion as the Japanese samurai. True power is not about controlling your environment. It is about maintaining total mastery over your own thoughts and reactions. Section 5. Dichotomy of control, fencing, and philosophy. When we look at the core of these two philosophies, we find a powerful rule. In modern psychology, we call this the dichotomy of control. This concept is simple but life-changing. It means you must divide your world into two neat categories. There are things you can control and things you cannot control. The Stoics believed that most things in life are completely out of your hands. You cannot control the weather, the economy, or the actions of other people. If you tie your happiness to these things, you will always suffer. Miyamoto Musashi applied this exact same principle to the ultimate high-stakes environment, a duel to the death. In his book, The Book of Five Rings, he wrote about the importance of an unshakable stance. He taught that a warrior must never focus on winning or losing. Why? Because you cannot fully control whether your enemy makes a mistake. You cannot control a sudden gust of wind that ruins your strike. If you worry about these external factors, your mind becomes heavy. Your movements become slow. Musashi believed you must focus 100% on your own execution. You control your stance, your grip, and your focus. Everything else is noise. For both the fencer and the philosopher, anxiety is a tactical error. It happens when you try to control things that belong to the universe. By shifting all your energy inward, you gain a state of total freedom and deadly efficiency. Section 6. Amor fati, embracing the unpredictable duel. The next deep connection between these two worlds is how they handle destiny. The Stoics have a famous Latin phrase for this amor fati. This translates to the love of fate. It means you do not just tolerate the bad things that happen to you. You choose to love them, embrace them, and use them as fuel for your growth. When a crisis hits, a Stoic does not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, they say, "This is exactly what I needed to test my character." Musashi lived this exact concept every single day of his life. In the Dokkodo, he wrote a profound rule: accept everything just the way it is. He did not complain about his lack of comfort. He did not complain about the bad weather during a duel. He treated every bad situation as an opportunity to perfect his strategy. If his opponent surprised him, he did not panic. He simply accepted the new reality and changed his movement instantly. Both philosophies teach us to stop acting like victims of our circumstances. But here is where we see an interesting cultural puzzle. Western Stoicism often talks about fate as a logical, divine order of the universe. In contrast, Japanese Zen and samurai thought see reality as a constant, ever-changing flow of impermanence. One seeks order in chaos, while the other seeks harmony within the chaos. Which approach makes more sense to you? Do you prefer the logical order of the West or the flexible flow of the East? Tell me in the comments below. Section 7. The trap of expectations, detachment as a weapon. Why do we experience so much stress and anxiety in our modern lives? Both Musashi and the Stoics give us the exact same answer. Anxiety is born from our attachment to specific results. We desperately want the promotion. We want our business investment to double overnight. We want other people to always praise our work. When we fixate on these specific outcomes, we become prisoners of our expectations. We give away our internal peace to external events. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus wrote that humans are not disturbed by things. Instead, they are disturbed by the principles and notions which they form concerning things. Musashi discovered this exact same psychological trap on the battlefield. He noted that if a warrior is obsessed with cutting the enemy, his grip becomes too tight. His sword becomes heavy and his movements become predictable. To win, you must let go of the desire to win. You must develop what Zen calls mushin, or no mind. This is the art of tactical detachment. It does not mean you stop caring about your life or your goals. It means you separate your identity from your external performance. You perform your duty with maximum effort, but you do not emotionalize the result. When you stop chasing expectations, you instantly remove the weight of performance anxiety. This detachment is not a passive surrender. It is an aggressive strategy that frees your mind to perform. at its absolute highest level. Section 8. The modern battlefield, from swords to spreadsheets. Now, let us translate this ancient armor into your modern reality. You do not carry a steel sword, and you do not rule a physical empire. But make no mistake, your daily life is a high-stakes battlefield. Your battles are fought through emails, meetings, volatile investment markets, and complex spreadsheets. When a critical project fails, or when the stock market suddenly drops, how do you respond? Do you let panic dictate your next decision? Or do you stand firm like a master? Most professionals fail because they operate with a reactive mind. They allow every external event to change their emotional state. If the market is green, they feel happy and overconfident. If the market crashes, they sell everything in a blind panic. This is the exact opposite of what Musashi and the Stoics taught. They show us that a true leader must develop an internal buffer between stimulus and response. Think of this as tactical detachment for the modern executive. When you face an organizational crisis, you must view it without emotional bias. Do not add a dramatic narrative to the cold facts. The market dropped, that is a fact. Your team missed a deadline, that is a fact. By looking at reality without anger or fear, you preserve your mental energy. This gives you a massive competitive advantage. While your competitors are drowning in their emotional reactions, you are already executing the next winning strategy. Section 9. Tactical detachment in daily life. How do we practice this unshakable mindset every single day? It does not require a meditation cave or a military shield. It begins with small, deliberate choices in your routine. The first practical step is to audit your immediate reactions. When you receive an angry email or a bad piece of news, do not reply immediately. Pause for just 10 seconds. In that brief silence, ask yourself a classic Stoic question. Is this within my control or outside of my control? If the event is outside your control, you must treat it as irrelevant noise. Let it pass through your mind without grabbing onto it. This is exactly how Musashi maintained his focus during a chaotic sword fight. He noticed the changing environment, but he never let it alter his internal balance. He adjusted his stance, but he kept his mind perfectly still. You must do the same with your daily stressors. The second step is to write down your own morning rules. Marcus Aurelius did this every single morning before facing the Roman public. He prepared his mind for the rude and ungrateful people he would meet. By anticipating chaos, you remove its power to shock you. Do not expect your day to be perfect or smooth. Instead, expect challenges and view them as training exercises for your soul. Through these daily habits, you slowly transform your mind into an unassailable fortress. Section 10. Conclusion: the unshakable mind. We started this journey by looking at two different worlds. We looked at a lonely samurai in a cold Japanese cave. We looked at a powerful Roman emperor in a muddy military camp. They were separated by ocean, culture, and thousands of miles. Yet we discovered that their internal armor was exactly the same. This proves a beautiful and deep truth about human nature. True mental strength does not belong to one specific country or era. It is a universal law for anyone who wants to master their own life. Japan and its rich history give us a beautiful lens to see this truth clearly. But remember, the ultimate goal is not to copy the lifestyle of an ancient warrior. The goal is to apply their timeless wisdom to your modern world today. You do not need a steel blade to be a samurai. You do not need an imperial crown to be a leader. You only need the discipline to control your own internal environment. When you leave this video today, remember the core rule of tactical detachment. Separate your emotions from your reality. Focus 100% on your execution and let go of the results. Embrace your fate with courage and view every crisis as a training ground. The world outside you will always be chaotic and unpredictable, but your mind can remain a perfectly calm and unshakable fortress. Step onto your battlefield today with absolute clarity and walk your path alone.